Medical marijuana is now legal in Kentucky, but at this moment, patients can't get the medication they need here.
And they won't be able to for months. WDRB Investigates took a deeper look at the state's medical marijuana rollout to find out how long people struggling may have to wait. Michael Adair had high hopes for these greenhouses. He wanted to renovate this space to grow medical marijuana. But the state's licensed lottery process snuffed out those plans.
It hasn't been fair and equitable.
Adair is one of many Kentucky hemp farmers with concerns about how the lottery played out, feeling like they got burned by the state.
I just feel like Kentucky sold out to the highest bidder.
The Kentucky people need to know what's going on. The patients need to know what's going on.
In mid-December, Governor Andy Beshear said he hoped patients could buy medical cannabis in Kentucky during the first quarter of 2025. But several hemp farmers have told WDRB patients face a much longer wait. That's because state law requires all of the cannabis sold in Kentucky to be grown and processed here. And on top of that, one out-of-state company could control a large share of the Kentucky market.
The patient's the number one person to suffer here.
State records show nearly 90% of lottery winners are from out of state. WDRB examined the business applications of all 74 license winners. 66 have connections to out-of-state owners or board members. Only 8 LLCs were solely connected to Kentuckians.
The way it's really going to stand is there's not going to be material in the market for probably 12 to 18 months.
Adair believes most lottery winners don't have any infrastructure in place right now. They'll have to build it out and pass inspections before they can even start growing a plant that takes months to mature.
That takes 6 months to build a building or longer, depending on how big a scale your building's going to be. You got to bring in lights, you got to source equipment, you got to hire people. There's a whole nuance to that, and then you have to start growing plants.
Governor Andy Beshear stands by the state's decision to do a lottery and believes any other process would have been stopped by lawsuits. The governor claimed no state has ever reached this point this quickly and stressed Kentucky is allowing cultivators to bring in seedlings to speed up the process.
And we had to make a decision. Do we put the patient first? And if so, we design a system that will have the fewest likely successful challenges on the lawsuit side.
Adair believes the state could also issue emergency licenses to Kentucky farmers who are ready to grow to get cannabis to patients even sooner.
Our solution would be at least to open up another round of licensing, but have some sort of caveat to it where you do have to have infrastructure.
Now, as we move into the future, once we have the program up and running, we may try to see if, for instance, when we expand cultivators, which I think we'll need to, if we can try to help those Kentucky hemp farmers.
The lottery also raised questions about potential loopholes when it comes to state regulations. State records show that Darkhorse Cannabis out of Arkansas is connected to at least 6 licenses: a cultivator license, processor license, and 4 dispensary licenses. That's at least 1 license for each step of the medical cannabis supply chain. In investment documents reviewed by WDRB, Darkhorse's parent company, Arcana, laid out projections for the Kentucky market. The documents show that through management agreements, the company plans to operate a full vertical that will, quote, allow for increased overall margins and bargaining power within the state. It estimates earnings of more than $86 million in Kentucky over the next 3 years. Under Kentucky regulations, medical marijuana licensees cannot hold licenses in different categories at the same time. Those regulations are in place to prevent a monopoly. When we asked the director of the Office of Medical Cannabis about this, he acknowledged the investment documents.
That documentation specifically spells out that they have acquired management services, agreements, and contracts with these businesses. They have clarified that they do not own any of these licensees.
The company echoed the same to WDRB, that Darkhorse nor Arcana own any medical cannabis business licenses in the Commonwealth. Darkhorse's CFO, Sean Clarkson, also runs a management company that he says assisted several independent Kentucky applicants through the process. State records show Clarkson's name listed on hundreds of businesses incorporated in Kentucky ahead of the license lottery. Clarkson sent WDRB a statement saying, in part, "I appreciate the opportunity to clear up any confusion concerning the application process and am proud as a representative of Gold Leaf Management to continue supporting Kentucky license-winning entities as they navigate this important step toward expanding medical cannabis access."
I guess the criticism that's been brought up is about the idea that a management company could potentially team with and or ultimately contract with a number of different owners. Now, you could say that's problematic. You could also say that they bring significant experience that may get this to the market and get it faster.
Moms like Julie Cantwell want the option to buy medical marijuana as soon as possible. Her son has epilepsy, and she's taken the risk of traveling out of state to get it and bring it back to Kentucky. She hopes the delays are as minimal as possible.
Patients have been waiting long enough. So, let's not make them wait any longer.
And when it comes to price,
I think that it's wrong to make money off of the backs of patients and sick people. I don't think that that's right at all.
she hopes the promise of affordable medical cannabis won't go up in smoke.
It has to be accessible, and it absolutely has to be affordable, because the program is not going to work if it's not those two things.
Reporting with photojournalist Josh Horton, Hayden Rostevsky, WDRB News.
In the meantime, an executive order allows qualified Kentuckians to get medical marijuana out of state and bring it back until Kentucky's dispensaries are up and running.